Hey, y'all want your money?
Y'all want the money? Y'all just want the money.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Captain Ken Fishing. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Today I've got an instructional video. There is a catfish tournament this afternoon on West Point with the West Point Catfish Anglers group. If you haven't already, check them out on Facebook. But as you can tell, the boat is loaded with all this grass and just nastiness. So I went out this morning and I threw a cast net for a few hours. I love throwing a cast net, but my arms are sore, my elbows are sore. But anyway, I'm gonna give you guys the instructions on how I throw a cast net. You may throw it differently. Whatever you do, it's going to take practice to get good at this. So don't just go out there and just think you've mastered it. You've got to keep going. And even on a good day, I still throw tacos and bananas. What I'm looking for is pancakes. But I'm going to show you how I throw it with one hand. Don't have to put it in your mouth. Don't have to spin around and do a dance. And it's pretty effective. I've done well with it today. I've got a live well slap full of gizzard shads, a few threads, and probably a dozen or so of those really big shiners. Hope you guys enjoy this one. Unfortunately, there's not going to be a video of me on the tournament trail this evening. It doesn't end. The tournament does not end until 2 a.m. That's what time weigh-in is. And I just can't make it that long anymore. Years ago, I might have been able to do it, but these days, a 2 a.m. weigh-in puts me home at best at 3:30. By the time I'm showered and in bed, it's 3:30 or 4 a.m. Well, I got to get up and go to church the next morning at 8:30. I don't got to, I get to get up to go to church the next morning at 8:30, and that's where my family and I are going to be, and I just can't function on no sleep. So hope you guys enjoy this video today. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and you like what you see. And if you really like what you see, share it with some friends. Let them know that the channel's out there. Hope you guys enjoy this one. I will catch you on the next one. Thanks again for the support. Thanks for watching. So I hadn't done one in a little while, but thought I'd do a quick little video on how I throw a cast net. But I normally throw my bets. I think it's just called the deep green or sea green, something, I don't know. But I broke some braille lines on it, I didn't even realize it. My backup net this morning, but just a quick tutorial on it, guys. Just load your net. I throw with my right hand. Everything happens with my right hand, and I'm just coiling this thing up, you know, all the way up until you get to your swivel. Grab your horn, pull it up, and most importantly, when you get ready to load your net, make sure that your net doesn't have any tangles. When you pull your net up, I get it about, I don't know, belly button high, something like that. And I take my coiled up rope in my right hand and I pull it over like this. So now I've got my net folded in half, all in my right hand. And I'm going to take the front half of my net, again, making sure there's no tangles. And I'm pulling up 16, 18 inches. And it's a little bit, probably half, maybe even a little bit more than half of the net out like this. And I'm going to roll this into my right hand so that everything is still in my right hand. I've got my coiled rope where I doubled it in half and where I took the front half of it, and now I've got two layers. I'm going to take my leading edge of the main line, I'm going to put it in my right hand. Take that same leading edge and I'm opening it up. Now my net, probably about an eighth, maybe a little bit more open. And I've been looking, I hadn't seen many, but I know there's some gizzards in here. This is right here at the boat ramp by the bridge. So I'm just gonna motor around here a little bit. I'm looking for them to flip, and when they flip, you go over there to where they flipped at, you throw it, they don't go far. But I'm gonna take this right here in my right hand, and if you think about, there went one. If you think about how you throw a hula hoop, if you were to take a hula hoop and throw it out flat, reverse of a frisbee. A frisbee you throw from inside to out. With a hula hoop, if you want to throw it, like think about throwing it outside. So I'm throwing left hand, I'm gonna throw like this. Throwing right hand, I'm obviously throwing the other way. But I'm gonna take this net and I'm just gonna flip it out. You're not throwing it hard. But I'm gonna tell you something important. That was a terrible throw. I'm just holding on to that lead line a second longer. But I'm gonna tell you something important about when you're pulling in the cast net, you can't pick straight up on it. It's got to come in at an angle so that that lead line can kind of scrape along the bottom and keep your fish in there. No dice on that one. As I'm picking this net up, I've already coiled this rope to the swivel, and I'm picking up on the horn, and I'm loading it as I'm pulling it back in. So again, doubling it up, taking the front little bit. No tangles. If there's tangles, you need to stop and get the tangles out. Rolling it up like this, lead line, and now I got it open. I'll throw it out here to the left a little bit. When I throw it, I'm gonna hang on to this just a second longer and kind of pull it open. I'm gonna try to show you. I don't know how well it's gonna pick up on video, but I'm just gonna take it. Pretty good. It takes a lot of practice, so don't think that you're gonna just figure this thing out on one day. It just takes many days of practice doing this. It helps when you can stand on the edge of your boat and you can dangle that net over the edge so that you can get all the tangles out as you're picking it up. Now I've got it loaded again, ready to fire away. Seems like some of these fish are more out in the flats than they are up here, so I'm gonna spin the boat around and go the back out, not to the channel. There's a creek back in here and there's a creek channel, but I'm gonna go back out towards just the middle. I see a few fish flipping around. A lot of bugs out here, water bugs swimming all over the place. But there's also some shad. And really right now what I'm doing is I'm just looking. I've got my depth finder, but that depth finder, I mean, it'll show bait balls of threadfin and stuff, but these gizzard shad, they'll run in pods, but there's not a lot of them in there. And to be honest with you, I don't pick them up on my graph when I'm trying to mark bait. I just kind of throw until I find a concentration of them, and then I'll throw some more. So again, got it loaded up. There was a tangle right there, got that out. You can't pick this thing straight up. So if I throw it in front of the boat, since I'm moving that way, if I throw out there and the net comes back here and I pick straight up on it, you're gonna lose all your bait if there is any in there. So you wanna kind of throw out to the side, let your boat pass it, and then pull back to it so that your lead, the main line is dragging across the bottom and kind of scooping these things in. So it's out there to the left. It's hit the bottom and I'm just kind of pulling it slowly to me. Striking out, man. There's a little brim in there. In these parts around Georgia, you can't keep brim or crappie or bass. The only thing you can keep in your cast net are gizzard shad and carp. I think that's about it. All right, I'm seeing some flip out here in front of me now. Get out there. Don't know if that camera's gonna pick it up, but probably about 40 yards in front of me, I saw some fish flipping. And if you can see some flipping, there's some on that point over there. If you see some flipping, typically, if you go out to where they're flipping at, throw right over that net, or right over that net, throw your net right over that little circle where they flipped at. Typically, you'll catch one. Sometimes you'll catch 15 in one throw. That's what you call a one and done. But during this time of the year, mid-June, you're just picking them off one at a time, maybe two if you're lucky. And just as I pulled the trigger, I saw one flip just to the left of where my net landed. Swing and a miss. Got a little bit of a tangle right there. Gotta let that, get that out. If you're throwing a tangled net, it's very difficult to get one to open up. I'm gonna throw it one more time right here, and then I'm gonna go over to that point. All right, there we go. That's what we're looking for. That's exactly what we're looking for right there. That's a great size bait right there. That's probably 10 inches long, Perfect size gizzard. Guys, if you're dumping your net in your live well, be careful because you will catch brim in there with them, and you do not want to dump those brim out there in your live well with your shad, because if you do that and Mr. Green Gene comes along, he's not going to ask you, was it a bycatch? He's just going to write you a ticket. And also, you're going to want to be careful, and you might even scan the area before you start throwing your net, because if there's a ton of brush piles, or somebody's moved in here and put a bunch of Christmas trees with cinder blocks, or if there's just a lot of timber, not going in well for your net. I think I broke my braille lines throwing it into some super grassy areas, and that's an expensive mistake. Braille lines you can retie, you can fix those, but man, I hate breaking a cast net. I've been throwing this morning for about 30 minutes and I've caught 4 nice fish. We need about 10 times that much. A little bit on the small size, but that's a good fish. That's two baits, 2 good baits. That crappie had a bad day. He's just dying to check out the boat, y'all. Go the other way, dude. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. This is crazy. Either this place is just loaded with giant crappie, or this is the dumbest crappie I think I've ever seen. 3 in a row. And his little friend. I'm gonna motor on up a little bit, try to get away from that guy. Two in one throw that time. That's what size you really like. Double up. Take the first little half, fold it into your hand, find your lead line, roll that there, and just give it a fling. Lots and lots of practice. So another thing, when you're letting the net settle, if you're in deep water, and I normally don't throw in water deeper than 12, 14 feet. That's pretty deep. I typically try to find fish that are relatively shallow, 4 feet or less. Once you throw your net out, kind of start coiling your line and sort of get it tight when you're in deeper water, but not tight. You just want to be able to feel, there it is, just when that net hits, so that you can kind of start dragging it across the bottom, but always let your net sink longer than you think you need to. Man, I just let one go. I didn't realize I had one in the net. Pay close attention to your net. Sometimes you don't see the fish. But when you feel that net hit, then you can start pulling it. When you're in deeper water, Sometimes you're pulling that net before it hits the bottom and you hadn't got those fish quite trapped. And if you start to pull that net back, that net doesn't just close up instantly. It sort of closes slowly, and it gives fish plenty of time to get out of that hole that you've made. So let it sink, and then again, pull it at an angle back to you. You can't pull it straight up and down. It just doesn't work very well. If you do have to pull it straight up and down, sort of jog it up and down a few times so that that net will close up a little bit before you pull it straight up. And if there's a slight breeze, throw with the breeze. You try to throw this net into the breeze, it makes it very difficult. And when you're throwing a net, a lot of times you're going to be picking up crappie and largemouth and stuff like that. And if you are, that's okay. Put them back. But that's telling you that you're in a good spot, because those crappie and those bass are up there eating what you're wanting to catch. Sometimes they're out there getting the little tiny thread fins or the fry gizzard shad, but I don't want those tiny ones. I want the big baits. I want to fish them whole, I want to fish them live, and then whenever they don't produce whole or live, then you can chop them up into pieces. But y'all know how I fish. There's some right there, right there. I normally like to fish 4 whole baits live, and I like to fish 4 cut baits on a Santee rig. Yeah, there's a few fish popping right along in here. I'm seeing them now. I'm seeing them. Maybe we're going to find them in this pocket. One of the really nice features about this Quest remote, the advanced GPS, is if I'm not looking at my fish finder, I can look down here and it tells me the water temperature and the depth. That depth is important when you're throwing this net, because you can't feel the bottom, you don't know how long to wait. But it's 4 feet right here, it tells me right there, and gives me an idea of how long I should be expecting that net before it hits the ground. Cool little feature. That's what we're looking for right there. All right, so a couple things about your net. I would not get anything less than 1 pound per radius foot. So if it's a 8-foot radius net, it needs to be about 8 pounds. If it's any heavier than that, it's a beast to throw after you've been throwing out here for an hour or two. If it's anything less than that, it just won't sink. It will, but it don't sink fast enough if you get on fish any deeper than, say, 7 feet or so. You can throw something like that in super shallow water that's one of those 7 pound per radius foot nets, but really and truly, they don't throw very well, and they definitely don't sink. I like 5/8 inch mesh. 1/2 inch is fine, 5/8 is great. Even 1 inch mullet nets, the 1 inch mesh mullet nets are pretty good, but you're going to be getting rid of all the smaller baits, which I don't want the smaller baits anyway. Common size on these nets for the mesh size is 3/8. That will catch every fish in here that you want, but it also catches those little thread fins, and they get stuck. They're perfectly shaped and sized to get stuck in that net when it's 3/8 inch. 5/8 will catch them too, but I've had a lot better success with the larger size mesh. Now, the length of the net, I throw an 8-foot, a 9-foot, sometimes a 10-foot net, and I picked straight up on that one, so that wasn't good. This net here is probably an 8-foot net. I'm 6 foot tall. I'm holding my arm straight out, so I think this is an 8. 8's a good size. 10 is perfect. It's a little bit on the big size if you don't have a boat that you can stand on the very front of the bow and hold it over the side. 6 foot is mostly what people start with. So if you've never thrown a net before, I would probably say start with a 5 or 6 foot net. They're a lot easier to handle, a lot easier to manage. And sometimes you don't have to do that very first step where I fold it in half about navel high. That particular size though, for me, it's harder for me to throw a 6 foot net than it is for me to throw an 8 or 9 foot net. They just the bigger nets for me open up better. And another tip, don't try to throw this thing real hard. You're just kind of wanting to just place it out there. A lot of times when I am trying to throw it further at a fish and I really get behind it, it makes the net fold out funny and get real distorted, and it doesn't open up very well. But if you'll just take this thing and give it a nice little throw like that, that wasn't very good. But if you give it a nice little throw like that, it'll open up pretty well for you. Whenever you do it hard is when you have a, oh, I threw it, nope, I got lucky. I threw it on something down there. Old log or something it got caught on, snagged on, but we're good. But if you throw it really, really hard, normally it just distorts it. And again, get your tangles out. If you don't get your tangles out, it's not gonna open up ever for you. Yeah, that's no good. That was a little better. All right, we're gonna check in with the wifey and make up the decision if we're going home or if we're going fishing. All right, guys, so I sold all my bait and I wasn't gonna fish. Everybody gets ready to leave the boat ramp after the captain's meeting, and somebody came down there and said, "Hey Ken, you owe me money, I signed you up. I know you were down here busy selling bait." So I greatly appreciate that, but I really wasn't gonna fish. Now I'm stuck here fishing, so I don't know. We'll see how it works out. I'll fish for a little while. If I do any good, I'll hang around till 2 o'clock, and if I get tired, I'll go to the house. So that's how that is. We're gonna pull some boards this evening. I've got my new Alpha boards, Elite, and I'm pretty pumped about using them. So there's that. My goodness gracious, this wind is bad. Nice fish right here on this point though. Check that out right there. That means we are pulling them on the right spot. Let's hope they're hungry. Skunk out. Skunk is out. It'll take a little bit more than that though to keep me around, but the skunk is out. All right, y'all. I wasn't even supposed to be in this thing. Brian Stone put me in. So, I'll wait in a few fish. Let's see how we gonna do.
Then coming home and having to do what I normally do.
YouTube's out. YouTube's out.
Call out third place. It's gonna be Austin and Jeff, Ugly Sticks.
Right.
All right.
What was the weight?
14 pounds.
Well, you get that? I'm keeping the money. Good job.
Don't take but one good fish to change everything.
All right, hey.
Show me that sign, fellas. Show me that
Hey, can
sign.
somebody
What you got there, dude?
can get pictures of the winners from us, please?
There we go.
And then send it to either me or Nathan.
We got second place. Chris and Donnie, masturbators. 18 points.
All right. Atta boy, Chris.
Nice.
There we go.
You earned that one. Look at it.
Here, put it in. Good job, fellas.
Good job, guys.
Smile right here, guys, for official photo.
About time. Hey, y'all want your money?
Y'all want the money? Y'all just want the money.
Can you hold that?
All I gotta do is that goes out, it's still working. It just
All
got
right, we got first place. We go Ken Athens.
All right.
Thank you, too.
33.5 pounds.
TR told me.
TR said to keep the big fish.
We also got big fish. Ken Athens. 18.5 pounds.
Hey.
Somebody gets a picture for us.
I got you right here, Keith.
Hey, once he gets a picture of the individual winners, all y'all get together. Let him get a picture, all y'all as a group, please.
He's like, I'm tired of y'all taking my picture.
Not bad for a guy who wanted to get a fish.
All right, all three of y'all get together, winner guys.
I know you gotta be running that spot on your. No, he ain't. Brian, it's your fault. I'm just expecting my payback, buddy.
All right, hurry, get a picture, man. Let's do this right.
Him won't look.
I'm just waiting for one of them white envelopes to slide.
It's going last way. 3-4, 5-1, 3-4, 5-1. He done pulled it home down now.
Yes, sir.
There you go. There you go.
Miller, is that you? That a boy.
I gotta have that
Task and you took care of it.
There you go.
Miller, you racking up at the Troop Farming Yard, man.
All right, there you go, Miller.
Here you go, buddy. Let me see a picture right quick. Hold that up. Good job, buddy. Good job.
Yes, sir.
We got two